All right, we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Creative Success Story. This is a series of live interviews that we do, sharing wisdom and lessons learned from successful creative entrepreneurs around the globe. And today I am so excited to have Giuliana on our show. She is the co-owner of The Traveling Bride, and she's won numerous awards. Bermuda's top wedding planner. She's also been for 2 years in a row, Couples Choice Awards on Wedding Wire. And she'll be sharing her story with us on what inspired her to create this business and what she attributes her success to, especially in such a high stakes industry where there's so much competition and your clients are expecting nothing short of perfection on their wedding day, right? So please join me in welcoming Superwoman, aka Giuliana.
Hi, thank you for having me on. This is awesome. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. Well, before we get started, to anybody who's watching, just wanted to let you know that, as usual, we have the chat feature turned on. So if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to chime in. We have Jewel behind the scenes, and she's going to be managing the chat box over there, taking your guys' questions and sharing them with me so I can relay them to Giuliana. And if you see me looking down as well, Giuliana, and for the viewers, if you see me looking down, it's not because I'm checking my Instagram or anything like that or being bored. I'm just looking at the questions that Jewel sent over to me. So
no worries.
Just an FYI. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to have you on the show, Giuliana.
I'm glad this all kind of happened last minute, or else I really would have been freaking out. So
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, for those of you who don't know, we've had the pleasure of seeing Giuliana in action because she orchestrated Jewel's sister's wedding in Bermuda, and that's what she does. She plans destination weddings in Bermuda. So I know that calling Giuliana awesome is an understatement for her. It's not just about what she does, but it's how she executes it and like her positive attitude. The way you think and see things, Giuliana, is great. So I'm so excited to share that with our viewers.
I think that's amazing that you've actually seen me do what I do. And I think that's so, for me, it makes doing this a little bit easier than someone randomly calling me up and saying, hey, let's have an interview. I think it's great that you've actually seen me do a fairly decent job. It was a good night.
An amazing job. Amazing.
I did have my moments at night earlier in the day with the transportation, but overall, I mean, it's cool that you've seen it all kind of happen firsthand. So
absolutely,
very cool.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned some things happened. I'm sure that happens to you all the time. Like that's a normal job day is like things come at you from all sorts of directions.
No matter how much you plan, there's always something. That's why everyone's like, everything's so amazing. I'm like, just wait until the end. There's a whole bunch of fires I'm putting out right now. It never fails. Something always goes wrong. Yeah.
Well, how did you start this whole business? Why did you start The Traveling Bride?
So I lived in Bermuda for about 7 years, almost 8 years. And we decided to get a transfer to Miami. And I was here for about a year in Miami, and I couldn't find any work. And I ran into someone that had a website. It was all about Bermuda, and they would book charters. And I reached out, asked him if he needed some help. And I started fielding phone calls and booking cruises to Bermuda. It was all specific to Bermuda. And since I'd lived there for so long, I knew just about everything that, the clients were asking about. And then I kept on getting all these complaints from people telling me, no one's answering my phone calls from the cruise ships to book a wedding. Do you know anyone that, could help me out with getting married in Bermuda? And, I just kind of, it's typical. I just jumped into it. I thought I threw it across to my husband and was like, maybe. And then I threw it across to the guy that I was working with. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And it snowballed into, the next day we booked something.
Was it ever something that you wanted to do?
No, there's no way. My friends think this is hilarious because I am like the opposite of wedding planner. Like, it's just not it is my thing, but it's not something I'm like obsessed with. Like but I'm obsessed with helping people, right? So it does work. But I would have never in a million years guessed this. This would have been the last thing on my list of things that I wanted to do with myself.
That's so interesting because, you know, it's not something that you had planned out or set out to do, but you kind of just went with the flow. Like it's something that happened to you, you saw a need and you're like, yeah, I could do this. And so I guess it was more so fulfilling that need for the people that reached out to you about this. That
right. And it's just not being afraid of just like, screw it, why not try it? I have nothing to lose, right? The service that I provide, I don't have to buy a physical piece of something to sell. I'm selling myself. And, you know, so it's very easy to kind of start something like that and sell yourself if you're good at that. I just never, you know, never knew that it was neat that I could do weddings. Like but again, it just like fell in my lap and I ran with it and it just felt really good. And it's just grown. It's grown since then. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I mean, it's like you're taking yourself wherever you go, and the business is kind of the vehicle. Like it's
Totally.
you're driving it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to make it work, because if not, then you're just trying to do something that other people might think or expect you to do, or you know, it's best to just kind of let things kind of go and then take it in those directions, and rather to try to force it into, no, I have to do it like this because everyone else is doing it that way.
Right.
And I didn't know anything about this industry, and I just did what I felt was right. And it turned out that what I feel is right, when it comes to the way I work and the way I deal with my clients, and what I think my clients would expect from me, just happened to work out really well, and everyone's responding to it well. So yeah, why not?
You said you didn't know anything about this industry, so it's interesting that you didn't see that as an obstacle. Like you still pushed through that. How did you overcome that? Like you just kind of, is everything self-taught? You research things? What did you do?
I'm not much of a researcher. I am such the person that just kind of jumps in and then thinks about it later.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a very much of like oh, cool, you know, today something pops up and before you know it, I'm doing it. I just ran with it. I don't know. And then I knew enough people in Bermuda to hit them up for help and be like, you know, can you go to the wedding and actually execute it? Because in the beginning I wasn't physically there, you know, so it was all done remotely over my phone and my laptop and webcams and, you know, WhatsApp. So, and then eventually I this last year, I did try reaching out to some professionals here in Miami to shadow them. And I did shadow a couple of weddings, but I gotta say, unfortunately, a lot of people are very secretive about what they do, and they don't want you to take anything, you know, and it's just like, why be like that?
It's that mentality of lack, like
right. And it's unfortunate
not enough for everyone. Yeah.
And I tell people here, I'm like, I'm not interested in doing anything in Miami. I'm not going to take your vendors, you know. And unfortunately, some of the people that I've reached out to are just like, you know what? And I'm like, it's free help. Like I've done weddings already. But you know, you find the odd person that will, and there are some wedding planners in Bermuda that I reached out to, and they were more than happy to help out, and they still do to this day. And that's amazing. That's why not? We all have our clients, you know, what client fits for me won't fit for another wedding planner. We're all different personalities. So
yeah,
I don't know, you know, I don't want all the weddings in Bermuda. I just want the ones that fit with me and have a good time, you know, the ones that naturally come to me. Yeah.
What do you feel most proud of?
Well, right now, I mean, taking a look at when my clients will post a review for me for the business, that's very personal for me. I'm very emotional about reviews, and I will take a review over a tip or anything like that, or a gift any day. That for me is very important, that someone would take the time to write something and from the heart and about what I've done for them. And those reviews have been amazing. They're long. A lot of my clients send me the full version of it because they can't fit it all in. And that to me is just like, that's like the best feeling ever, to know that, one, I actually accomplished something and they're happy to actually voice it. It's not just like, oh yeah, thanks, we had a good time.
Yeah.
No, they really, it's a lot to get a review from a client. It really is. Some I have to chase down. And then of course my son, to have him see me doing all of this. I think it's amazing that he sees not only his dad working full time, but his mom, starting a business, and trying to kind of show him as much as I can. Because I mean, it's got to build a website. You got to do this. You got to do that. So as much as I can, I try to kind of sprinkle some on him. But yeah, I mean, it's been cool to see everything grow. Very proud of my reviews, and then how my son views everything. He's definitely aware of what's going on.
Well, what is your definition of success? How do you define success?
There's a combination of things. Like, I guess right now for me, the most important is to kind of have everyone happy, which is not the easiest thing to do. It's when vendors are excited to work with me, when everyone just feels taken care of. So not only is my client happy, but all of their guests are like, they know me. They know that they can come to me for help, or one of my staff. And then the staff are super excited to be there. Like, they're, whether it be from the hotel or my staff or a vendor, like a DJ or something like that. If they're happy and they're having a good time, then I've done something right. I've brought together people that enjoy each other. And I think that's important for everyone to have a good time, because then, like, what's the point of doing all this? Like, go home, stay home. I don't need you. Like, if you're not feeling up to it, don't come out and work today,
Yeah.
But I like to see that happening when everything just kind of clicks together, and that's taken time. Yeah, that's definitely taken time.
I was going to ask you, so how do you think you fostered such strong relationships, not only just with your clients, but also with your vendors, to make this like perfect thing work? It's like, you might not think it's perfect, but for like someone who's looking at it, it's like, wow, This is a system and it's running.
It is. And
well,
I don't, sometimes a lot of people are like, oh, what do we need a wedding planner for? There's so much going on that I have done in the background that you have no idea about, which is taking care of my relationships with vendors. I mean, there are trips that I do to Bermuda, which are solely for that. I will book out an entire week of dinners, lunches, breakfasts with every single, with every single vendor that I know, and have a one-on-one with them. And I mean, I got to say, part of it is part of the job. And another part of it is I truly do enjoy these people that I work with. And I'll make that effort to kind of connect with them on a different level. Because when we're working an event, we're just crossing paths. Hey, what's up? I need this, I need that. And there's no time to actually say, hey, how are you? What do you do? What do you do outside of this? So that, for me, I feel is very important, is to stay on top of your relationships with your vendors. Because without my vendors and without the people that, work for me on the day of, I can't do any of this. Like, this is, no matter how hard I work, none of this would actually come to life without them. So I need to make sure that I value everyone that works with me. And if they need something, to be right on top of it. It's a lot of work. I enjoy socializing with people. So it's not that much of work, but it does take a lot of time. And then, you just have to sit down and go, do it. Because we always think we want to send a thank you note, but it's taking that time to actually sit down and do that.
Yeah, it sounds like you've really built such a great foundation, and that's why, things tend to flow like that. And it's the fact that you really go that extra mile, and you'll like fly out to Bermuda to sit down and meet them, as opposed to just like connecting over email, saying, hey, this is great to be working together,
Totally different. There are, I remember when I first started, a year would go by and I'd never meet, some of these vendors or some of these people at the hotels, and down to the people that help book rooms, who are usually stuffed in an office somewhere. I will seek them out. I'll go to the hotel. Hey, I'm downstairs in the lobby. Come downstairs, have a drink with me. I have some cookies for you. You know, whatever it is. And everyone's trained now. Whenever they see me, it's like I gotta wander around with like a bag of cookies. They know that I've got some homemade
cookies. Are great, amazing.
Well, that's a monster I started, and everyone gets them, and it's just like people literally like, where are my cookies? And I'm just like, chill out. So, but it's important. But I gotta say, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I have to meet with these people. I do really genuinely reach out to people and continue to reach out with them because I really like their company. I think they're interesting. Like it's just neat. It's kind of neat to have all different kinds of friends and connections, right?
You're in. It sounds like you're just like in your mind. You're in the business of people. You're not in the business of weddings, and that's like the whole thing.
And that's why I'm kind of like, everyone's like, oh, you must love weddings, and it's like, well, you know, weddings are great, but like, I love helping people. I love working with people. I love being out there. You know, if I'm sitting at home by myself, I'm miserable. I'm just.
We have a few questions actually, so
I'll
ask
cool.
some of them over here. The first one is, what advice would you give to people who haven't found their calling but are dying to do so?
Right. So I'm 41 years old, and up until last year, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I would say just don't give up. Like, it's hard to, for me, it's a little bit easier now to look back and be like, wow, everything I've done in my entire life, I started working when I was like 14 and a half, has led up to this point right now. And as I was mentioning before when we were chatting another day, this might be the step to something else. But right now, this is I feel like it's a peak right now, and I'm just chilling out here and trying to hone this in. But not to give up, and that if you fail at something, and you know, you guys hear this all the time, to keep on, to find something else. Like, I mean, you don't have to be a dentist. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be like I didn't know I was going to do this. Like, be open to things, try new things, and know that if you do fail, at least you've learned something from that. You need to take something away from it and then go on to the next thing. And it's all going to connect. The dots all connect. And it's really crazy when it does. I got to say, it happened to me last April, and it just all fell on me like a ton of bricks, and I get the chills just thinking about it. I just realized, like, oh my God, all this crap that I thought I had failed at, because I was really kind of like, my husband's always like, oh, what are you doing this month? You know? Mm-hmm. All these things I had done actually were stepping stones to this, to where I'm at now, because I use something from every single job I've done in my life in this job that I do now. So yeah, I would say just keep on going. Like it's all going to work out. You just need to trust yourself and keep on going and just do your thing, whatever feels right.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Do whatever feels right. Follow that gut feeling that you have. You know, if something makes you feel really good, it lights you up, you just love, you know, you enjoy it, then follow that and see where that leads.
Yeah, definitely.
Another question is, how did you actually get started, even though you knew nothing about, I think we covered that.
Yeah.
Even though you knew nothing. Did you ever feel like quitting in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, starting a business in another country is tricky. And Bermuda's a small place, and I had my my hills to climb, and luckily I have a great business partner, Lisa, and she helped me through that. Yeah, I mean, I still have my moments where I feel like this could all be taken away from me. You know, what if somebody comes and complains, or, you know, like these are the things that go on in my head, and I have to just kind of quiet them. Yes, I mean, and there were moments where I'm like, okay, is this going to last long? Because I'm notorious for that. Just, you know, starting things and then they fizzle out.
So how do you deal with that? How do you, you know, when you have those moments, how do you calm that?
You know, well, normally I just quit and move on and find something else because, you know, it's not worth it. But this time, oh man, it was just, there was no stopping me. There was no, I mean, I had my moments where I got upset, but I just had to deal with it because I really want this. Like, I want this so bad that it upsets me to even think that someone's going to take it away or something could happen to it. I don't know how to explain it. I just kept on moving. But I have lost many nights of sleep worrying about me messing something up on the website or posting the wrong thing or just messing up with a client. I mean, or disappointing a client. I don't know. I just keep on going, and I have my husband and my dad and and I talk to my son about it. My poor boy. Reach out for your support system. And then also I watch a lot of, sometimes I'm up in the middle of the night doing stuff, 3, 4 in the morning. I watch a lot of videos like this, like of people talking about how they got started. They're all over the internet, and I would just play those. And for that was very motivational. You'd hear, we're not the only ones who've gone through that. Everyone goes through that. Yeah. It's not easy to start a business. It doesn't just get handed to you. And I think that's all people see is like the end result. So I would say hunt out things, look for videos, motivational kind of stuff, and just play that in the background. And eventually you will, you'll be there, like you'll feel, I guess, maybe a little less stressed out. I don't know.
No, that's great advice. That's, I mean, I do the same thing too. When like, those days are really tough, like videos on YouTube, that's what I turn to, or like reading, or just, taking a second to step away from my laptop and just go for a walk, like chill. Working out really helps me.
You have to you just kind of have to trust what you're doing is right. And I do get that a lot. And I'm like, I got to put my blinders on. I just got to move forward. I just got to move forward. And if I fail, then I'm going to fail doing it my way, not because I got scared and thought I needed to go in another direction.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I do it the way that I see is fit and not the way somebody else is doing it.
Awesome. Another question here. At what year in your business did you really feel that you've got a successful business?
Last year. Yeah. April. Yeah. I remember the day I was sitting there.
Was it a certain event that happened, or just thinking about everything
It was a very, last year was my first year where I was going every single month. And I got a lot of bigger weddings. I had some amazing clients last year that knew I hadn't done really big weddings that were logistically a little bit more complicated. And they were very helpful in the sense of, Gigi, we'll just walk through it with you. If something goes wrong, we understand, but we really want you there. So I had a lot of clients really just, and I got to say, it was after Jessica and Chris. Jess and Chris knew I hadn't done a big wedding at Rosewood, and they took a leap on me, and oh man, we had so much fun. I still talk with them every once in a while, and it's clients actually that eventually do give you an opportunity, which was neat, to do those bigger events, because ultimately it's their money and their wedding. And they understood. I was very upfront with them, like, look, some of this stuff I haven't really done yet. And but that after that event, I remember sitting and it just fell on me like a ton of bricks. I just realized it. And I mean, it was a very happy moment. It was kind of like a bittersweet moment.
Must have been a scary moment.
Well, it's just like having a kid. You have the kid, you're happy, and then you're worried, oh, something could happen to the kid. It's just like that. You have your business, and oh my God, this is amazing, but what if I lose it? And then just realizing that all of your hard work that you've done over the last, 30 years, 20 years is finally kind of being recognized. And I'm not just a housewife, I'm not just, my husband has a profession, so I'd be introduced as the wife and no one would really ask what I do. And now legitimately I could be like, yeah, I own a successful business. I fly to Bermuda on my dime, not because my husband flew me out, with his business or with his company. So yeah, April was definitely that moment. And it was amazing. And I wish you could bottle that up. It all does kind of go away. And then you have to just kind of like,
yeah, you have to like have a memory for that feeling and take your.
And I kind of do. And the best part was that I was able to like realize it. You know, like I was in the moment, I felt it. I just sat there, I called up my parents. I mean, it was just a big sobbing mess.
So
and
what
I knew,
Go ahead.
No, I knew I wouldn't give it up for anything. And I was like, that's it. This is not something I'm just going to throw away because I get tired of it. You know, I just got to a point where this is something that I love to do. Yeah.
And what do you attribute that success to? Like, what if you could think of three main things, like that you had throughout those years, throughout all that hard work that you're talking about, what would those be?
Well, I mean, I guess just hard work. I've grown up with my father's a business owner. He's been working hard his entire life. He didn't really have much of an education. I would just say just seeing how he brought me up, my brother, and how my mother also worked in the background. Just very hardworking people. I don't know. I think just being myself, just got to a point where I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to do what I feel. And it's played out it's played out very well. And I don't know if I can put my finger on it quite, but
yeah. It sounds like it was a combination of the way you were brought up, but then like just trusting yourself, going with your gut, like feeling things out, learning things along the way.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if it's so much the age too. I mean, as a woman, you get to a certain age and then you kind of you've been through so many things. And I don't know, I just got to a point in my life where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to keep on going and whatever happens, happens. Yeah.
Awesome. I have some more questions. This just in. Would you ever be a wedding planner in a different country other than Bermuda?
So I get asked that a lot. I've had some clients who have brothers and sisters, and they're like, hey, and oh man, I don't know. I guess it depends on the location, but the reality is I'm successful because I have my connections and I have those vendors that back me up and I have those friends that help me out on the day of. And that's why I'm successful. I'm not successful just because of me. I'm sure I could figure it out, but it wouldn't be the same as doing it with the people that I normally work with. Mm-hmm. And having said that, vendors do change, and we do create new people and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I've been asked numerous times. Right now, I think Bermuda, for me, holds a special place. It's a beautiful country. I know if I send someone there that's never been, which happens all the time, and they're trusting me with 50 of their friends or 100 of their friends, I know that country won't let them down. Like when they arrive, it is gorgeous there. It's pristine. They'll be treated well. Whatever hotel I've already been there, stayed there. I don't think I'd be comfortable. I don't know if I'd be comfortable doing it somewhere else just yet. I've definitely had people tell me you should branch out. I'm like, you know what? This is a good thing. I kind of like what I'm doing and I don't feel the need again to take over,
Yeah.
This is cool. I'm just, it's like a little niche and
you're happy where you're at.
Oh, beyond. Yeah. Beyond happy.
Mm-hmm. What was your worst experience as a wedding planner and how did you overcome it or what did you learn from it?
Oh, see, I thought about this earlier and I'm like, how many stories can I tell? Because I don't know, this is out there. I usually save my stories for the brides on the day of or the grooms to kind of calm them down. Well, Kira knows about this one. We had a sandcastle made at one of the weddings. And, there's this logistically, this was probably one of my most complicated this year. We brought in a band. There was all sorts of stuff going on. And last minute, she's like, let's do a sandcastle. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And this poor girl, she comes out, amazing job, beautiful sandcastle. And it was near the cocktail hour. She just completed it. It must have been 8 hours. She sat there making this. The beach was cleared out except for one family with a child.
Ooh.
And sure enough, we're wandering around. I'm thinking everyone's gone, and I'm very like, whatever. When I'm working, I have a smile on my face. I'm joking around with people. And then one of the managers comes over to me and he goes, Gigi, he goes, there's an emergency. I'm like, I think I told him to F off. I was like, yeah, you're so funny. Like, because there's like an hour to go, right? Like the bride, there's all sorts of other things going on. They're getting ready to start the ceremony. And he's like, no, Gigi, there's something wrong. And I'm like, yeah. Okay. So he drags me over there and the whole sandcastle is demolished.
Gone. Oh my gosh.
And the girl who built it is literally, as I'm looking at it, she's like walking past me to her car. Like she doesn't even see it, right? So she's walking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. And she was just, she was beside herself. But she redid it. Thank goodness I kept her actually for like an hour trying to get her to do some names on some leaves. Yeah, so that sandcastle was an expensive mistake. And that kid came along and kicked it and ran his hands down the front of it. His parents grabbed him by the arm and shoved him into the last shuttle, and they left. So the day that I find that child, and I don't think we have drone footage of it, but we did have the drone wandering around. But they left. They knew what their kid did. I mean, come on, that thing was huge.
Oh my goodness.
But that's probably one of my scarier, but we got it redone. There's other stories, but I don't know if I should say any of them.
I feel like there is a lesson in that story though, because you had someone do this, and it like she was probably so upset spending 8 hours, but at the same time, like she, your relationship with her was like, okay, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to attempt to.
And I had just met her too. I mean, but we vibed really well. Like she's super cool. She was nice enough to come back. I mean, she understood the situation. But yeah, lesson learned, if I ever do a sandcastle again, there will be a dedicated staff person standing there, like guarding it. Like we had it in the corner of our eye, but the minute you look away, the one kid that's left on the beach tears it down. So that was a bit, and I was laughing. There was nothing left to do. Like, what am I going to do? Yeah. Start freaking out and yelling at people? Like, there's a picture of me actually on Instagram, and I'm just laughing my head off. I'm just like, oh my God. Like, it is what it is. You just got to roll.
You have to have that. Yeah, you kind of have to have that attitude, especially when there's so many moving parts and so many things can go wrong that
like I've seen wedding planners, when I shadowed a couple, I've seen wedding planners lose it. And there's nothing worse than seeing the person that's in charge lose it in front of people. Like how unprofessional, how like it just looks really bad, and it puts other people on edge. So I do my best to kind of have a smile on my face, joke around with people, and have a good time, because I don't want people to be, scared of me or anything like that. And I don't want to put out that vibe. I want everyone to just be happy. Yeah.
Giuliana is very approachable for anything. Is your wedding planning business all year round? Do you take a break in the winter?
Well, the way it works in Bermuda, and another reason why I probably don't want to do anything else, is their season, for me at least, for destination weddings, kind of runs from April until now, October, November. And then once those end, then it picks right up right now in the sense of bookings. So all the people that want to book for next year, now they're knocking on my door trying to get me to get them locked in, get them estimates and all that sort of stuff. So it kind of comes in waves. I did have like about this last week or so where I actually like just kind of slept and laid in bed and didn't answer emails like immediately. Maybe took a couple hours to answer. Yeah, there is some downtime, and especially during Christmas. I find once Thanksgiving and Christmas hit, no one wants to know anything about weddings. And then come January 1st, everyone just got engaged and they want to book their wedding. So it's crazy. Like as soon as January 1st hits, it's nuts. Yeah.
So how do you juggle this? So you have the actual wedding planning for each of your clients, but then you also have to continue getting new clients, or do they come to you? Like, how do you juggle both those sides?
So important, like, again, to say again that I'm nothing without the people that are around me. I have people that are doing my social media. I have someone that helps me out here at my house with just like copy, paste, stuff like that. And she just does all the stuff I really don't want to do.
Yeah.
So help. I mean, that's the only way I can do it right now, because there's a lot. It's a lot of work. So I basically farm out the things that I'm not good at to other people. And in the beginning, I was hesitant because of the cost. It can be expensive, but in the end, I'm able to be a better service to my client if I'm not bogged down with copying and pasting estimates and, dealing with mundane stuff that can be done by someone else. Mm-hmm. So it's worth it in the end to spend a little bit of money on staff. Social media is definitely what drives my business. Wedding Wire is a huge platform for me, not only for reviews, but also they've taught me quite a bit. I've been to 2 of their conferences, and I've learned so much from that, especially on social media. And I think a lot of people don't put enough importance on their Instagram accounts, on their Facebook accounts, on, their website and their presence. Most of these brides are in their 20s, they're in their 30s, and they want to see a really cool website. They want to see like high numbers on your Instagram account. So I've put a lot of work into that, because when I first came into this industry in Bermuda, I noticed there was a huge lack of that.
Yes.
I've got to say, a lot of people are on Wedding Wire now for some reason. A lot of people have redone their websites, which is awesome, but it's just strange over the past couple of years. And
it's funny that you're saying that, because when I was helping Justine look for wedding planners, and there was only a handful, like a very few websites that had a good online presence. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's, the way you see their website, their social media, Instagram, all of that, the attention to detail that they put into their web presence tells me that there's someone good behind this business, that they're going to put that attention to detail in your wedding, right?
Like, it's a little scary in a sense. I mean, if you think about it, because if someone has a lot of money, they could create that. Mm-hmm. Luckily, I created my own in the beginning, and then I had someone come along and redo my website this last year, because that's a tremendous amount of work that you do not want to take on. Building a website is like, that's a lot of work.
It's stressful.
And it's extremely stressful. So this year I was like, you know what, I'll dump some money into it, and it's well worth it. Oh my God. So yeah, very important to make sure that you look polished. I can't stress that enough. Yeah. Hire someone else to do the things that you cannot, you're not good at, because then if not, it comes off half-assed. Yeah.
Yeah. So having a team is a great help. Mm-hmm. You being able to juggle so many things. When it comes to like the day of the weddings and, things that you specifically do, I know stressors will fly at you all day. Yeah. So how do you juggle those things? How do you juggle so many things at once?
I mean, that's when I'm in my glory, to be honest. I love it when things are going off. Like, I just love it when you're throwing 20 things at me. For me, that's like, chaos is like a lot of fun for me. It kind of like, I feed off of it. For me, it's like adrenaline. Like and then I've learned over the last year or so with these larger weddings to hire more staff, to make sure that even if it's small stuff, like, preparing food for you guys while you guys are getting ready. Mm-hmm. You guys were a bit of a smaller group, but for the larger ones in the 100 to 150, I'll hire someone now to do that. It's not something that people think of needing, but so I'll end up hiring different people to go out to different spots. That way I'm not being pulled away from what is important, which is making sure that I'm near the bride, I'm near the groom. And if they need something, if their immediate family needs something, I'm right there to help them right away. Mm-hmm. Everything else can happen. I trust my vendors. I'm at a point now where, they understand how I function and I understand how they function. And we play really well off of each other. But yeah, for me, the day of is like super exciting, because I don't know, it's just, for me, it's fun. And then I get to hang out with all the family, and I get to like know each other, because I've heard about them over the year. You know, the bride is always telling me about who they like and who they don't like. And so for me, it's like, yay, I finally get to meet all these crazy people that I've heard about. So
that's awesome. You have a really positive and fun outlook and perspective on things. That's really great.
Yeah, I know, you're like, that wouldn't be fun for you.
Yeah, I would be pulling my hair out if I was doing something like that. Another question for you from the chat. Who are your role models?
Oh my goodness, role models. Well, my father. Yeah, my dad, totally. And more it's becoming clear to me that my mother plays quite a big part in where my dad is in his life, right? And where the both of them are. As a mom, as I'm getting older, and as I'm seeing the amount of stuff, like when I transitioned into doing this, I realized, wow, I do a lot of stuff in the background that my husband would never want to do. And he realized that, you know, it is the two of you that are working together to make something happen. And both of my parents are very hardworking. Same with my brother. He's very hardworking. So they brought me up to do this. Like, they brought me up to serve people, to help people. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's other people that have mentored me along the way, but definitely my parents. Yeah, for sure.
And
yeah.
What were you doing before wedding planning?
Oh, wow. What was I doing? The last job that I had was actually in Bermuda as a rowing instructor. I was teaching kids how to row. And for about 3 years with the Bermuda Rowing Association. So I used to go out every morning on the harbor and teach high school kids how to row, which just blows my mind. I learned how to row like a year before that. And they were like, you'd be good at this. And I'm like, sure, why not? Like, you know, another one of my quests, you know, jumping in, got my certifications, and away I go with becoming a rowing instructor in Bermuda. And that was, I learned a lot from every job, but that was really cool. Working with kids and seeing how moldable they are, and, you know, just kind of being in their world as a peer kind of. And then now, since it's been so long, they're in college now, getting married, and it's cool. I still keep in touch with, and some of them actually come out and work with me at the weddings, which is, cool. Yeah, which is neat. But I did travel with them. I actually took them out to Vancouver for a regatta, and then also Atlanta, which was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool. Mm-hmm. And what is your bigger goal with your wedding planning business?
You know, goals are kind of tricky for me. I don't know if I'm much of a goal setter, maybe. I just want to keep on doing what I'm doing and let it grow naturally. I don't want to force anything. Things are constantly changing, so it's hard for me to say an exact, you know, I've done the whole goal setting thing, and I find it a little bit, I mean, it's just kind of defeating. Once you get there, then it's like, okay, what do I do now kind of thing? I don't know. Like, I'm letting it roll, and like, whatever it grows into.
It sounds like you're someone who lives more in the moment rather than.
Yeah. I mean, I got to be honest, I've done the goal thing. I really have. I've reached a goal, a massive goal. And oh man, the other side of that hill was rough for me, because I just didn't know where. I was so focused on reaching that point that I didn't prepare myself for what was going to happen after. It was just a constant, like, I need to get there. I need to get there. I need to get there. And then I got there. I'm like, oh my God, I finally accomplished like this big thing. And then what do I do now? Like, totally lost. I
can totally relate to that. Yeah.
And for me, that was crushing. Like, it was horrible. It was probably, you know, I have gone through a couple of bouts of depression, and that was definitely one of them. Like, so for me, goals, I don't know. It is a positive thing to set goals and all that sort of stuff, but I just keep on preparing myself. I'm always open to new ideas. I look around, I see, oh, you know, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. And just kind of keep on adding and keep on trying to, you know, get feedback from my clients. You know, how can I improve, you know, whatever it was that went wrong, or, you know, anything that they say. I do kind of steer clear of goals. So I don't have a goal. I'm flying with it right now. I've done everything I want to in life, to be honest. And this is just like, this is fun. This for me is like a joy. I'm really, really, really grateful to have the opportunity to meet people and travel. Like I get to go on a plane every month. Like how amazing, like to me, that's like mind blowing. I guess maybe so my expectations aren't high, but
no, I'm just listening at everything you're saying. And I'm like, you're so inspiring, Giuliana.
It's just, for me, like the small stuff for me is just like amazing. I mean, literally the fact that I get to go on a plane every month for me is like, you know, and then hang out. Like when I go to Bermuda to work, I'm there. Like I am fully like in it. I'm immersed in it. There's absolutely no other things going on while I'm out there. And I love that. I love that I go there and I can work through the night. There is no waking up in the morning. You know, Lorenzo needs to get to school. I need to go pick him up, or, you know, that sort of a thing. And I don't want to leave my husband home. We need to spend some time together. He knows when I'm in Bermuda, I'm out. Like I will sleep 2-3 hours in a night if I get that. I sleep very little when I'm in Bermuda, but I really try to juice every moment out of it. And I think I already lost track of what we were talking about. So.
That's okay. No, it's all great. This is a question from me. Were there any surprising lessons that you've learned along the way?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, you know, you see all these like weddings from the outside. I was never really into them. And you see these big productions and you're like, wow, that's so cool. And then when I started doing this, I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be neat to get a client that actually could afford all this, right? Because it's crazy expensive, especially in Bermuda. And then when it boils down to it, like you can hang 1 million lights, you can have the most amazing ice sculpture, you can do all sorts of stuff. But like if the friends and the family that you've invited to come out and spend a week with you and spend their money aren't genuine friends and people that are actually happy to like be there, like you're not going to have a good time, no matter how well executed it is and how fancy it is. Like I think it's surprising to see that no matter how much crap goes wrong, if my clients are surrounded by the right people, their friends and their families that are really do truly are happy to be there, they have an amazing time. They have an absolutely amazing time. And it doesn't take a lot to make that happen, except just putting them together and making sure that, you know, they at least get together in the right place, and you have a little bit of food, a little bit of drink, and they have like, there's some weddings where there wasn't much to it. And I mean, it's amazing to see the amount of love that people have for that couple. And it happens quite often. I gotta say, I meet quite a few couples that have an amazing support or family that come out. And I guess maybe with destination weddings, it kind of whittles out those people that you wouldn't want at your wedding anyways, or they're not going to waste that money because they don't really care for you that much. So it's a neat dynamic to do those destination weddings, because those people that are there because they really do want to be there, not just for a moment to see, oh, this was so cool. Like, so I think that was the most surprising. Like, you spend more money, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a better time, you know.
At the end of the day, it's just bells and whistles. And
it is. And then, you know, it's just noise. It's just background noise. Like, I really honestly have seen some of the most amazing ones were the ones where the families were all very well connected and just genuinely wanted to have a good time. No matter if it was raining out, it was windy out, or something didn't happen. They didn't care. They were just there to celebrate and have a good time and celebrate the fact that they're getting married. Because a lot of people forget that. Like, you're there to get married that day to the person that you love, right? Not to like have fireworks go off in the background. So some people do lose sight of that. But yeah, I think that's been the most surprising, because I really thought, oh, you know, you need to see these big productions in order to have this amazing wedding, and it's not necessarily so. It isn't. It really isn't.
That's very interesting observation. That's really cool to hear that. What are your hobbies when you're not planning weddings?
I watch a lot of Love and Hip Hop. Like
a lot of what? Say that again.
Love and Hip Hop. I'm like the worst for that. My husband hates it. Wow. I got to be honest. I work so much. Hobbies. I stopped working out. I'm getting back into it now because I do need that kind of like escape. Traveling for me is a hobby. So I gotta say, what I'm doing is almost kind of half hobby for me because
Hobby, yeah.
I'm telling you, like, there's no better place than the airport. And I know people hate that, but being in a plane, I always wanted to be a flight attendant. I worked hard at trying to get that. It didn't happen. Yeah, I mean, I guess it used to be before was going to the gym. I used to go to the gym a lot. Yeah. But hanging out with my family, hanging out with my boy, if I can take him out to breakfast, like that to me is just like, yeah. But I don't do any like needlework or I don't know.
Needlework. What's your best advice for handling criticism from others? Because I'm sure you get a lot of that.
Yeah, I'm human. I mess up, and I don't jive with everyone. I mean, there are people that just don't like me. It happens. Well, it depends on the situation. So I do my best to be open and listen to what they have to say. I gotta say, it is hard for me to take blame for another vendor's mess up. But I always have to kind of like bring myself back and say, you know what, the buck stops with me. I am the connection. I've connected these people with these people. It is my fault in the end. And I just have to take it. I do my best to address it. If I know something's gone wrong personally before they do, or at the same time, I will immediately address it if I can, if it's appropriate. I don't want to wait until they bring it up, even though I know it. And then, there's all different situations. And then there's clients that actually get upset at you for nothing. It could do more with family drama or the weather. The weather is one of the things I cannot control. But I would say just taking a moment, especially if it's over email. I am notorious for being very quick at emailing things, and I'm a very emotional person. So I need to kind of like, I had a client this year and I needed to stop myself and just be like, okay, I need to read through this email. I need to hand it over to my husband to read through it. Emails are such a hard way to communicate with people, right?
Yeah.
You don't know. And I put exclamation marks everywhere. So, people might think I'm mad or happy. I don't know. So you need to take a moment, step back and make sure that you soak it all in. And then remember, the client's always right. Like, we're in that kind of a business where we do have to bend over sometimes and take it. And it just is what it is. But if I've done something wrong, I will be the first to admit it. I will happily, well, not happily, but, I will definitely go to my client and say, look, I'm really sorry. I dropped the ball. How can I help? And I will hopefully have a list of things that I can do in order to repair it.
Do you ever internalize that? Like, does that ever drag on for you?
Yes. And I gotta say, it's when I know I haven't done anything wrong and a client is truly just upset. Like I had a client 2 years ago. Everything went amazing. It was such an amazing night. Hugged them goodbye, sent them off on their little train. They boarded a boat to head back to the ship. I had 3 weddings that day and everything went great without a hitch, like 3 weddings, this big one and then 2 other small ones happening on beaches. And I left my cell phone in the car to go sit down and watch them pass by. And lo and behold, they get on that boat and there was a miscommunication, even though I had sent out emails confirming payment. And they got upset. And I could have easily have squashed it if I had my phone on me. But I thought, hey, everything's fine. There's no way, like, until everyone's asleep, I do not drop the phone now. And it ruined their night. And what can I do? I can't redo, and it wasn't really my fault, but it still sticks with me today. I mean, I get really upset about it because that's what they remember. They don't remember all the other stuff that happened and what a great time they had and how beautiful the venue was and the cake came out just like they wanted. And, all these things went off just right. It didn't rain. It was supposed to rain. All they can remember is that one last 20 minutes and the night's gone. And that sticks with me. It does. It's hard for me to not, and I did reach out to them afterwards. I mean, you know, clients were just like, they told me, don't worry, we understand it's not your fault, but you know, they're disappointed, and that's their memory. And that sits with me for sure. That is a bit of a pressure. But you know, I just have to deal with it. I just have to vent to my husband and go cry somewhere. And
it comes with the territory. Like I said,
totally, because
perfect days. So
it really is. Sometimes it's just impossible. Like, I mean, and then there's some people that you can never please. I mean, there's other factors playing into it that has nothing to do with you or what you've done. And you just have to kind of sit and nod and be as nice as you can and not lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty good at that. There's lots of situations where I could have lost it, and I'm like, yay, like.
It sounds like you also, like, you take the lesson from it. Like you were saying,
you have to.
Always having my phone on me now.
Oh yeah. No. There's definitely a lot of things that I've adjusted in my life because of, I never, now it's like, okay, are you in your room yet? Like, okay, all right, I'll see you later. I'll still check up on them the next day. Because seriously, it can boil down to like one bad moment and it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. So, yeah.
Well, no matter what, you guys, I can tell you that no matter what gets thrown at this woman, she knows how to handle it. Like I'm not going to specify what happened during Justine's wedding day, but
you named her.
she's amazing. Like you can tell that you love what you do, and you can tell that it's about the people. It's not necessarily about you running a business, which comes across like not only to your clients, but to, like, I wasn't your client, right? But I'm seeing this and how you work, and I'm sure your vendors feel that as well from your relationships with them. So absolutely amazing. There's about 3 minutes left. Juliana, do you want to tell everybody where they can follow you? Or
yeah. So thetravelingbride.com is my website. And then I have Instagram, The Traveling Bride. I have YouTube videos too. I mean, also same thing, The Traveling Bride. I try to keep it consistent. There's a Facebook page. Wedding Wire has all of my reviews. There's over 50 of them on there. I've been very lucky that I think this year I'm shooting to get every single client to write me a review. I've got a couple of stubborn ones out there. But yeah, I mean, I would say check out my reviews. You know, we all cater to a different person. And, you know, if you are looking for a planner in Bermuda, definitely try all of us out, you know, interview whoever it is, because you're going to be stuck with them for the next year. And yeah, I mean, I don't fit for everyone, but there's definitely quite a few clients that I've had amazing times with.
And we're going to put all those links, I think they're already there, down in the description below this video, so you guys can check it out. Awesome. Thank you so much, Giuliana, for being on our show. It was such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys doing this. This is really cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely keep in touch. Thank you guys all for watching and for tuning in. We'll let you know when the next creative success story comes out. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys. Bye.